So the other piece of business here is it looks like we're headed towards Brett and Shawn, but then here comes Austin, and then Shawn just sort of stands there. Is Shawn happy with that positioning, or at this point, was there anything that was going to, I guess what I'm trying to get to is how frustrated was Shawn, because it almost feels like it starts with him and Brett, but then he just becomes kind of like a backdrop.
Didn't like it.
Yeah.
Shawn did not like it at all. And I think that Shawn, did feel that he was standing there with his unit in his hand, and the reasoning behind it, I think the idea behind it was one of Shawn's got no beef
right
at that point with Austin. So why get involved, and why, as a champion, plus I'm out here in Canada, they're booing me, so they don't like me anyway. But again, I think you need to play to your larger audience, and that's the global television audience. While you're in that one market that night, we had it recently where we were in Canada, and Canada, man, they're very patriotic. That's one thing I got to tell you, Conrad, I do just admire about Canada. They love their country. They love their countrymen. They have a respect for their history, and I think that's cool as shit.
Yeah, I know we don't talk about current stuff, but man, that crowd you guys had in Toronto a few weeks ago was badass.
Yeah.
So here the champ is just sort of standing here as Brett and Austin mix it up. And now on an upcoming house show, all the booking sheets for Buffalo, Cleveland, and Detroit list Sid and Bret Hart against Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels. Now, we often talk about in wrestling, especially in this era, shades of gray. And later this year, Vince is going to go on TV on Monday Night Raw and say something like, we're not going to continue to insult your intelligence, where it's good guys versus bad guys. But in this era, Bret Hart, while he might be a little whiny, we're not yet fully on I Hate America. We're just, hey, Bret's been screwed by everybody. And it shows he's teaming with Sid, who just most recently attacked an elderly with a camera, to take on Steve Austin, who's very much a bad guy, who just keeps attacking people and beating them up with chairs, and Shawn Michaels, who I guess is the babyface. I mean, he's our babyface champion, our hometown hero. It feels as if this should have been Sid and Austin against Bret and Shawn, but that's not what it reads. It says Sid and Bret against Austin and Shawn. Is this maybe the first time you remember there being shades of gray, if you will, in the positioning of the matches?
Well, and it wasn't that at all. It was taking those two matches. You had the two opponents in Shawn and Sid, who had a program, in Bret and Austin, who had a program. Now you team the unlikely adversaries, with each other against the other two. So yeah, the logical thing you would think would be Bret and Shawn. But how's Bret gonna coexist with Sid, and how is Shawn gonna coexist with Austin?
Right.
Now they've got their enemy on the other side. They don't necessarily have an issue with each other, and that was the selling point of that match. Was how are the partners going to coexist, and what's going to explode in the match itself?
So you kind of have like a story within a story here.
Yes.